Hello. I don't have a mic today because I got a new phone recently, and so the sound might be a little bit different in this video, but I'm happy to be back. This is going to be a reading for today. So I drew theme cards as I usually do to start off. We have Gypsy Queen in reverse with Ceres and Urania at the bottom of the deck. So already we're talking about the theme of knowledge, mental expansion, maturation, and transitions. So there's a couple of things that came up here, a couple of scenarios that could be relatable. So one thing that I was thinking about was gaining knowledge about a situation, about a cycle that you may be in that is causing you to turn your intuition on and inward. So what I'm imagining right now is somebody who may be a little bit naive, someone with a strong intuition that externalizes it on other people or is looking for confirmation outside of themselves. So that's where this could mean both or one or the other. One thing about this cycle or this information or this situation that you constantly find yourself in is you end up in a situation where you doubt yourself a lot. So we also have the Ask card at the bottom of the deck, and Comfort came out to clarify the theme. So it seems like there are these cycles that you find yourself in, these patterns that you find yourself in, that you are just now becoming really aware and familiar about. And there's some feeling of clarity that has arrived through whatever new information that you've gotten about something. It could even be something that you've learned recently, like a topic that you've learned, or maybe you were listening to a podcast or something like that, and it gave you a sort of light bulb moment about the situation that you're in, or it gave you an enlightening moment around the cycle that you keep repeating. And so the thing about this cycle is you tend to end up in a situation where you doubt your intuition, you ignore your intuition. Maybe it's harder to hear or it's turned off. Maybe you're in a lot of situations or relationships where there's a lot of noise around you. Maybe the person that you're around has a very big personality. The friends you find yourself around there's something about these scenarios where you become smaller, and where, for example, if we're talking about a relationship, there's another person that you are in the room with, and for some reason they're taking up a bunch of the space and you're allowing them to. Either you're feeling small or you're shrinking yourself, or there's something about their personality that takes up so much space. There's something almost that feels suffocating about it or overwhelming about it. Like, it feels like a personality thing, but it could be more than that. It could be they're overcompensating in some way, or maybe there's something about them that's intimidating, or the situation could be intimidating where it feels like it's the main thing in the room and there's no room for you to exist either. So there's something here too with the intuition piece around like asking questions. With the question mark here, there's maybe a lot of confusion that comes into play. And the doubt comes up because of a habit of ignoring maybe your surroundings, or you're allowing yourself to be convinced otherwise of something that your intuition is telling you is happening, but you're allowing yourself to believe that it's something else. The other thing with comfort, obviously, this is an obvious conclusion to jump to, is comfort zone. Maybe you are comfortable with, another scenario that's popping up in my head right now is someone who knows the answer to a question in class and you don't raise your hand. And so there's this comfort in hiding your knowledge and your gifts and your abilities. So going back to this card here, this goddess is associated with astrology, with the stars, a lot of occult knowledge and information. So there's something about, which kind of contradicts the Gypsy Queen, which also has a lot of like psychic intuition imagery. So there's something about information that you're learning that is leading you back to your intuition and leading you back to contemplation, maybe turning more into yourself. And it's turning this gift on. I'm also hearing that you're being challenged in a new way. There's something, again, that is expanding your mind and opening you up to a new way of receiving information that was always there. And oh my gosh, both of these cards are showing. There's nudity in both of these cards that I just now realized. That's interesting. They both are revealing the left side of the breast, which makes me think of nourishment of, and the left side of the body is usually the more feminine side of the body symbolically. So there's something about needing to nourish this receptive side of yourself, or re-nourishing yourself and your body, replenishing yourself and your body, receiving. I'm seeing this like image of recycling arrows or something like that. So it's a lot of like giving of your energy, and there could be a feeling of depletion through people around you sucking a lot of your time, a lot of your resources, a lot of your energy. So there's something about returning that to the self, recycling all of that energy that you would give out and bringing it back to yourself. So there's a sense of nourishment, softness, soft life, allowing yourself to be more in a space of being magnetic, of being receptive. So with this information and this transition, which is what this card calls to, there's also I want to bring up Virgo as a sign here, as well as Aquarius as a sign here that could be relevant, because Ceres is associated with harvesting, with the fall time, with the transition between summer and fall. So I would say Virgo or Libra could be a relevant astrological sign for you also. But coming back into the body is another thing that is coming up as well. Yeah, because another thing with going back to astrology, the archetype of Virgo is very heady, it's very mental, it's very analytical, not always within the body. So there's something around like root vegetables, nourishing foods, broths are coming up too. Yeah, and you can kind of see this feeling, this fall feeling within the comfort card as well. So there's something around like coziness. Also, fall time makes me think of slowing down. What also happens in the fall is daylight savings time, you gain an extra hour. So a lot of times I think of that as like an extra hour of sleep that you're gaining. So summertime can feel, which is summertime here in the northern hemisphere, summertime can feel very busy, you're very active, you're out, you're doing more extroverted things because of the vibe of summer. I know it's been super hot too, so maybe that isn't very resonant at this time, but normally the vibes of summer is there's no more school. This is the time that you take off of work because it's a slow season for a lot of businesses because people are taking vacations and stuff like that, so there's not much going on. So there's like a feeling of resting, slowing down, nourishing, bundling up, slowing down the nervous system too. Also, the fall and cool seasons feel like a more introverted time of the year versus like spring and summer feel like, okay, it's not cold anymore, we can go out and do things, explore this, there's more sun. You know, I know in certain parts of the states, like, people get depressed because there's not much daylight because of the winter time. So you just feel like you don't want to be in more. You feel more hermited. But this feels like the vibe of what you're being asked to do, like pulling back your energy. Also, with the introversion instead of extroversion, asking yourself questions instead of asking other people questions. Okay. That was a lot of information for 13 minutes in. We have two cards that point to intuition. So it feels like that's something that you haven't fully embraced or understood about yourself, that you naturally have really sharp insight. Maybe it runs in your family. It just seems like it's natural for you. I'm getting something around dreams as well. Okay, yeah. It also reminds me of the way that people describe a woman's moon cycle or bleed cycle as different seasons. It feels like, if I could use that as a metaphor, that you are transitioning into a fall season. Even if like that's not the season that's happening where you live, it feels like you're entering internally a fall season where you're winding down, you're not going and running around, meeting up with different people, being at different people's beck and call. Is that the way that you say that phrase? I don't know. Feels like a time where you're choosing yourself much more. Okay. I'm shuffling the tarot now. Excuse me. Okay. There is a card. Did it flip over? Okay, the star. What? That's. The question here that we're contemplating, that we're moving towards, is emotional fulfillment. What we desire our lives to look like. Because this is like a happy home. You got the house. You got the kids. It kind of shows this stereotypical ideal white picket fence imagery. So right now, what you're contemplating, what the theme is for this, is what that looks like for you, what your ideal looks like for you. And at the moment, you're kind of, it feels like you're juggling a lot of things mentally, like you're trying to utilize what you have currently. Maybe it's like skills that you have currently. You're contemplating like where they can take you, what you can do. There's a need to take time alone to cultivate whatever knowledge or skills that you have to build an ideal life or career that it is more expansive than what you have right now. At the moment, it feels like with what you're working with currently, there doesn't seem to be a lot of options, or maybe you're not able to see options. You're contemplating what options you may have. There could be also a need for skill acquisition, like learning a new skill. Maybe it could be an offshoot or adjacent to a skill that you already have. Like, for example, if you are a really good writer, maybe copywriting might be an adjacent skill that you can learn to create more options and pathways for you to get toward this ideal life that you're wanting to have. With this doubt and this intuition, there's a similar message around hiding yourself. Hiding yourself seems to be, it's almost like a form of lying and self-betrayal. There's a need for self-preservation, self-protection, but there's also a need for a deeper self-inquiry to land more authentically, to land in spaces more authentically. And what I mean by that is, like, as you're spending more time with yourself, as you're getting to know yourself, as you're doing more things that you're curious about, cultivating more skills so that you have like less of a tunnel vision of what your options are, you're being asked to show up more vulnerably in new ways. And this could start with your intuition. Maybe your intuition is pulling you to do something out of your comfort zone, something that scares you a little bit more. And a part of that is being vulnerable. Following your intuition is a vulnerable thing to do, because sometimes, in some cases, it kind of leads you into a lesson and not a destination. Like, the destination might be a lesson, it might not be like the ideal situation, but you're learning what you need to learn in that scenario so that it can lead you closer to your goal at the end of the day. So it might not necessarily land the way that you want it to. So sometimes it feels like, why is my intuition leading me to this weird place. It feels like a detour, but the detour still leads you to that ideal destination. So letting go of perfection here, and understanding that the path isn't going to be perfectly straight. It's not perfectly linear. What you want might not be what you're used to. And it might not be taking you in places that you're used to being. So sometimes what we're comfortable with isn't the healthiest thing for us, which is ironic, right? Like, shouldn't our comfort zones be like healthy for us? But it feels like in this situation, your comfort zone and what you actually desire are at odds. There's a tension between them. It also feels like with the star card in reverse that you're saying yes to things that you really mean to say no to. You're placing yourself in situations that you know you don't want to be in, but because you're not able to see other opportunities beyond this situation, you stay there despite what your intuition is telling you. Okay, we're at 21, almost 22 minutes. I feel like I've said a lot of different things. So what I wanted to narrow this down into is like something small. So something small would be using the word no more, and not feeling so obligated to do things. I feel like creativity, doing something creative, or lessening the noise around you would help you to hear your intuition more. It's pretty sharp. I have like, from what it looks like, you have a very sharp intuition. I don't think it's going to take very long for you to start listening to yourself. And I almost want to say that it's not even about listening, it's about trusting. It's not that it's not there, it's not that it's gone. It's just trusting yourself more. And when you've gone against yourself for so long, I feel like it's gonna take some time to earn your own trust back. There might be ways that you already have thought about doing that. So spending more time with yourself, getting to know yourself more, can open up that door as well. Okay, we're gonna end on an affirmation card. The change is that you realize you want something different, and you kind of knew that all along. That's the transition. You're like, okay, I think I actually might act on this because I don't want to be here anymore. I want to be somewhere else. That's so funny. I honor the natural process of growth and transformation. I hope that you saw that fly out of the deck as I was shuffling. Let's see what's at the bottom. I mean, maybe this could be relevant. We are all sisters and reflect the divine in one another. I don't know. Maybe that might be relevant for someone. But this one, amazing that this came out. Another symbol of transformation. And the thing too that I want to mention is I heard somewhere that whenever the caterpillar actually enters the cocoon, it is not pretty. It's not a comfortable process. It's just there's a lot of things happening. Or if you consider yourself like this alchemical process, when they describe the alchemical process of turning lead into gold, that sort of metaphor, or the metaphor of blacksmithing something into an actual beautiful product like jewelry, or glass blowing something into a beautiful pipe or vase. Those processes of taking one thing that is just a mundane object and turning it into a work of art, that is a process of altering, deep alteration of the thing. So if it's uncomfortable, you're on the right track. It's supposed to be, because you've been doing this one thing for so long. So it's going to take time also is another thing too. Like, I think a lot of transformations online look like overnight, but what a lot of people, I don't know if it's too much to do it, or if they hide that process on purpose so it looks like it was an overnight success. But a lot of people don't show like the grunt work behind the scenes that brought them to that ultimate result. And even once people get to that destination, it might not even be what they think it is. It might, for some people, it might even feel empty getting there. So it's really important to have this strong foundation of self-understanding, so you know that whatever your goal is, when you get there, you're already fulfilled within. So it's not like that thing is going to feed you. But again, it's just, and you might have many iterations of transforming and of change, and many iterations of yourself, of different versions of yourself, and different versions of you might want different things. Different versions of you has a different version of this white picket fence, of this ideal. So stay open, you know. Yeah, I think that's everything. I'll see you soon.